When you hear Lean Six Sigma, what comes to mind? I bet it's something like robots on a factory floor, right? Not the controlled chaos of a Friday night dinner rush. You're probably thinking cars, not calamari. But here's the thing, that same manufacturing discipline, it might just be the most powerful tool your restaurant isn't using. And to get why, you have to shift your thinking. You have to stop seeing your restaurant as just a restaurant and start seeing it for what it really is.
A tasty factory. I know it sounds a little strange, but think about it. At its absolute core, what is a restaurant? You take in raw materials, your ingredients. You put them through a process, cooking, plating, serving, and you deliver a finished product to a customer. Every single plate that leaves your kitchen is a manufactured good. And the second you start seeing your business as a collection of processes, well, that's when you unlock the power to make every single one of them better.
And let's be honest, the need for that improvement has never been more urgent. The stats are just brutal. 60%. That's how many restaurants fail within their first year. You know better than anyone that the margins are razor thin. There is literally zero room for error. Every wrong order, every bit of wasted food, it's not just a mistake, it's cash coming directly out of your pocket.
But what if you could actually tackle those problems? Systematically. I'm not talking about theory here. These are real results from real restaurants that used these tools. Check this out. A 62.5% drop in serving defects. Wait times cut by 58%. And what happens when you do that? A 38% increase in sales. So stick with me because I'm about to walk you through exactly how they did it step by step. Okay, so to make this work, we've got to start speaking the right language. We need to translate these factory terms into the stuff you deal with every single day. Let's start with two big ones, defects and waste. So, what's a defect in a restaurant? It's actually super simple. It's anything, and I mean anything, a customer wouldn't be happy with. That wrong order that gets sent back to the kitchen, that's a defect. Food arriving cold, defect. An overcooked steak, you guessed it, a defect. Even a wait time that's so long it just ruins the vibe for the whole night. These aren't just little oopsies. They are genuine defects in your final product.
And then there's waste. And when we say waste, we're not just talking about what ends up in the trash can. Look at this. All 8 types of waste from lean manufacturing, they happen in your kitchen every single day. Overproduction. That's the giant pot of soup you made that has to be tossed at the end of the night. Waiting. That's your server just standing there waiting for a salad to come up. Things like transportation and motion are all those extra steps your cooks take, walking across the kitchen or reaching for things that aren't where they should be. It all adds up. Even defects create waste, right? Remaking that cheeseburger because the ticket said no cheese costs you time and ingredients. Trust me, every single one of these little things, they bleed you dry.
So, the big question, how do we fix all this? Well, the answer is we don't guess. And, this is really important, we stop pointing fingers at our staff and we start looking hard at the process. The tool for this is a structured, data-driven method called DMAIC. Honestly, this is the secret sauce. This is how you find and solve problems, for good.
DMAIC is basically a 5-step roadmap. It's pretty logical when you see it laid out. First, you define the problem. Then, you measure how you're doing right now. You analyze the data to find out why it's happening. Then, you improve it. And finally, and this is key, you control it to make sure you don't just slip back into the old way of doing things.
All right, let's make this real. Imagine we're in the define phase. We have to get super specific. We don't just say, service is slow. No, we say, our problem is that 12% of our orders have a defect, and our average wait time is 22 minutes. See how clear that is? And the goal is just as clear. We're going to get that defect rate down to 4% or less, and our wait time down to 12 minutes, and we're going to do it in the next 3 months. Okay, phase 2, measure. This is where the rubber meets the road. You've heard it before, but it's so true. You can't fix what you don't track. So we start gathering real data, hard numbers. We track the order accuracy for every single ticket. We get out a stopwatch and time every dish from order to plate. We use a thermometer to check food temp. We literally weigh the food waste each night. The point is, we stop guessing and we start knowing. Next up, we analyze, and this is where things get really interesting. We use some simple tools to dig in and find the real root causes. Take a Pareto chart, for example. It's just a fancy bar chart that sorts your problems from biggest to smallest. And what you'll almost always find is something amazing. Maybe it shows that 80% of all your order mistakes come from just 3 things: wrong sauce, missing drinks, and overcooked steaks. Boom! Just like that,
You know exactly where to focus your energy to get the biggest bang for your buck.
So now that we know what to fix, we move to the improve phase. We make smart, targeted changes based on that data. We don't just randomly try stuff. Maybe we redesign the kitchen layout so cooks aren't walking all over the place. Or we switch to a pull system so we're only prepping what we need right when we need it. We standardize recipes, we create checklists, we add pictures for plating, anything to build consistency and take out the guesswork.
And last, but definitely not least, we control the new process. Look, this can't be a one-time fix. It's not a project that just ends. We build simple daily dashboards to keep an eye on our key numbers, our defect rates, our wait times. We update our training. This is the step that makes sure all that hard work actually sticks. It's how we lock in those gains and stop ourselves from sliding back into old habits.
Okay, so you've gone through the whole DMAIC cycle. So what? What does this all actually mean for your business, for your bottom line? Let's talk about the real-world gains.
Well, the benefits are huge, and they hit you right where it counts. First, happier customers. They get the right food, it's hot, it's fast, and they come back. Second, you're going to see lower food and labor costs because you've stopped throwing money in the trash can through waste and rework. And third, your service rushes will be smoother, way less chaotic because everything is predictable. I mean, these are the exact things that separate the restaurants that thrive from the ones that become another statistic.
And hey, let's not forget about your team in all this. For them, a good process means way less stress. The kitchen isn't a war zone anymore, your servers are getting better tips because service is faster and they can turn more tables. Everybody knows what's expected of them, and you start building this amazing culture where people aren't just complaining about problems, they're actually empowered to help solve them.
All right, let's wrap this up. How do we take all this from theory and actually put it to work at your tables?
Here's the main takeaway. Six Sigma is not some magic wand. It's not a slogan you put on a poster. It is a discipline. It's about having the courage to look at your restaurant and see it as a process that you can measure, that you can analyze, and that you can make better every single day. It's how you stop just hoping for a good service and start building one. So if you're a restaurant owner or manager and you're ready to get serious about this, to systematically improve your service, cut your costs, and boost your profits, then I want you to visit sixsigmadsi.com. You can see exactly how we train teams and support real, hands-on projects right there on your restaurant floor.
So I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Right now, what's the single biggest defect in your service? Is it the wait times, wrong orders, cold food? Whatever it is, just knowing what to call it, well, that's the first step to fixing it for good.